Welcome to my channel Super Rare Coins. Today is best top 3 coins. Please don't skip this video. So let's get it started. The 1980 United Kingdom 1 new penny coin is an iconic representation of Britain's decimal coinage system during the reign of Queen Elizabeth II. It belongs to the first generation of decimal coins introduced following the United Kingdom's historic transition from the old pound shillings and pence system to the modern decimal currency in 1971. The 1 new penny denomination was introduced as part of this decimalization with the word new, used between 1971 and 1981 to distinguish these coins from the pre-decimal pennies that were much larger in size and different in value. By 1980, the denomination was well established and the coin served as a vital component of everyday commerce in Britain, representing 1/100 of a pound sterling. The obverse of the 1981 new penny features the second definitive portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by British sculptor Arnold Machin. This effigy was first introduced in 1968 and remained in use until 1984. In this portrait, the Queen is depicted wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, a piece of jewelry often associated with her early reign exuding youth and elegance. The encircling the effigy reads, Elizabeth II D.G. Reg. F.A.D. 1980, an abbreviation of the Latin phrase, Elizabeth II Dei Gratia Regina Fidei Defensor, which translates to Elizabeth II by the grace of God Queen Defender of the Faith. The portrait faces right, following the centuries-old tradition of alternating the direction of monarch profiles with each reign. The reverse of the coin, designed by Christopher Ironside, displays the image of a crowned portcullis with chains, a design derived from the badge of the Palace of Westminster, a symbol closely associated with the British Parliament. Above the portcullis is the inscription New Penny, and below is the denomination 1, indicating its value of 1 penny. This design was used on all 1p coins until 1981, after which the wording was changed to simply 1 penny in 1982, when the term new was officially dropped as the decimal system was by then familiar to the population. The edge of the coin is plain, smooth. In terms of physical characteristics, the 1981 new penny was struck in bronze, consisting of 97% copper, 2.5% zinc, and 0.5% tin. It has a diameter of 20.32 mm, a thickness of approximately 1.52 mm, and a mass of 3.56 grams, specifications that remained standard for the penny until 1992, when the composition was changed to copper-plated steel due to rising metal costs. The coin has a round shape and a bright reddish-brown luster when freshly minted, which over time develops a darker, more muted patina through circulation. The mintage for the 1981 new penny was substantial, as it was a regular circulation issue intended to meet the everyday needs of a growing population and active economy. Tens of millions of these coins were produced by the Royal Mint, primarily at its Llantrisant facility in South Wales, which became the main production site for British coinage following its opening in 1968. In addition to circulation strikes, the Royal Mint also issued brilliant uncirculated proof and specimen sets for collectors, featuring superior striking quality with sharper details and smoother surfaces. Historically, the year 1980 in Britain was a period marked by significant political and economic developments. The country was under the leadership of Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher, and it was a time of industrial challenges, rising unemployment, and major policy shifts. Despite these broader national circumstances, the penny remained a crucial small denomination coin used widely in retail, public transport, and everyday transactions. The decimal system had by then become second nature to the British public, and the new terminology was preparing to be phased out. From a numismatic perspective, the 1981 new penny is a relatively common coin and generally holds low market value in circulated grades due to its high mintage and modern issue status. In circulated condition, it is typically worth only its face value of 1 penny. However, in uncirculated, mint state grades, particularly MS65 and above, or in proof versions preserved in original Royal Mint packaging, the coin can command a modest premium among collectors of decimal coinage typesets or those interested in building year-by-year collections of Queen Elizabeth II's coinage era coins from this year, such as off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or die rotation anomalies, are rare but can significantly increase a coin's desirability and value. The symbolism of the 1 new penny coin is also noteworthy. The crowned portcullis represents Britain's parliamentary democracy and its long-standing institutions, while the effigy of the Queen reflects the constitutional monarchy that remains a central element of British governance and heritage. The coin is a snapshot of an era in which Britain was consolidating its decimal currency system and adapting to the modern economic realities of the late 20th century. By 1982, just 2 years after this coin's issue, the word new was officially dropped and the denomination became known simply as 1 penny. The bronze standard continued until 1992, after which steel became the norm due to the rising price of copper, marking the 1980 penny as part of the last decade of true bronze pennies in Britain. Next, the 1971 one new penny coin is a landmark piece in British numismatic history because it was the first year of issue for the decimal penny following the United Kingdom's major monetary reform known as decimalisation. Before 1971, Britain used an ancient monetary system of pounds, shillings, and pence, where 1 pound equaled 20 shillings and 1 shilling equaled 12 old pence, making 240 old pence to the pound. On February 15, 1971 decimal day, the country officially transitioned to a simpler system with 100 new pence to the pound. The one new penny was introduced as the direct successor to the old penny, but its value was set at 1/100 of a pound, making it worth 2.4 old pennies. The obverse, front, of the 1971 coin bears the first decimal coinage portrait of Queen Elizabeth II designed by Arnold Machin OBERA. In this portrait, the young queen is depicted wearing the girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, a wedding gift she received in 1947, which became an iconic and often photographed jewel of her early reign. The surrounding legend reads, Elizabeth II D.G. Reg. F.A.D. 1971, abbreviated Latin for Elizabeth II Dei Gratia Regina Fidei Defensor, meaning Elizabeth II by the grace of God, Queen Defender of the Faith. The portrait faces to the right, following the long-standing British convention of alternating the monarch's profile with each new reign. The reverse, back, was designed by Christopher Ironside, a prominent British artist whose work was chosen through a national competition for the new decimal coins. It features a crowned portcullis with chains, historically a symbol of the Palace of Westminster, Houses of Parliament. The portcullis, surmounted by a coronet, represents the authority and stability of the United Kingdom's constitutional system. Above the design is the new penny, and below is the denomination 1. The word new was added to distinguish these coins from the old pre-decimal pennies still circulating during the transition period. Regarding physical specifications, the 1971 one new penny was struck in bronze, consisting of 97% copper, 2.5% zinc, and 0.5% tin. It has a diameter of 20.32 millimeters, a thickness of 1.52 millimeters, and a weight of 3.56 grams. Its edge is smooth, plain. Freshly minted coins displayed a bright reddish bronze luster, but with circulation they developed a darker brown or even chocolate-toned patina due to oxidation and wear. The mintage of the 1971 one new penny was extraordinarily high, as the Royal Mint needed to produce massive quantities to replace the old pre-decimal currency and ensure a smooth transition to decimalisation. Over 1.5 billion coins were minted in 1971 alone, making it one of the most common British coins ever struck. These coins entered circulation rapidly, and nearly every household in the United Kingdom would have handled them during the early 1970s. The historical context of 1971 was one of great change in Britain. Decimalisation modernized the country's currency system, aligning it more closely with international standards and simplifying everyday transactions, accounting, and commerce. The government launched extensive public education campaigns, including leaflets, television programs, and even a children's cartoon character named Decimal Dave. To help the public adapt, the one new penny was a symbol of this new era, replacing the centuries-old pre-decimal penny. From a numismatic perspective, the 1971 penny is highly significant because it represents the very first decimal issue of its denomination. However, due to its enormous mintage and widespread circulation, most 1971 one new penny coins hold little monetary value above face in circulated condition. Collectors usually seek out uncirculated BU examples or proof coins, which were included in special decimalisation sets and display superior finish and detail. These can command modest premiums, particularly in pristine condition. The symbolism of the reverse design reflects the continuity of British governance during a time of change. The portcullis with chains has medieval roots, symbolizing protection and controlled access, while its use as the badge of the Palace of Westminster links the coin to parliamentary democracy. The crown above it reaffirms the monarchy's role within the constitutional framework. In everyday use, the one new penny quickly became part of the daily lives of British citizens, used for purchasing sweets, newspapers, bus fares, and small household items. It was compatible with vending machines, public telephones, and coin-operated meters, making it an essential coin of the 1970s and 1980s. The 1971 issue is also historically important because it marks the first year of the series, later renamed One Penny in 1982, when the new was dropped as the decimal system became fully established. Thus, the 1971 coin stands at the beginning of a 50-year evolution of the modern British penny. Today, collectors often keep 1971 pennies as a remembrance of Decimal Day, even though they remain plentiful. In circulated grades, they are generally worth face value, 1 penny. Uncirculated specimens may fetch between 10 pence and £1, while proof sets can be valued higher depending on condition and completeness. Its true value lies more in its historical and educational significance than in rarity or precious metal content. Next, the 1981 United Kingdom 1 new penny coin stands as one of the final issues in the original new penny series that was introduced during the United Kingdom's monumental currency decimalisation. This transition began in 1971 when Britain shifted from its ancient monetary system based on pounds, shillings, and pence to a modern decimal system where £1 was subdivided into 100 new pence. The 1 new penny was the smallest and most commonly used denomination in this new system, equivalent to the former 2.4 old pennies in pre-decimal currency. By the time the 1981 coin was struck, decimalisation had been in use for a full decade, and the new designation was nearing its end. 1981 was the penultimate year to bear the word new, as from 1982 onwards the coin simply read 1 penny. The obverse, front, of the 1981 penny features the second definitive portrait of Queen Elizabeth II crafted by renowned sculptor Arnold McKin OBERA. This portrait, first introduced in 1968, portrays a youthful queen wearing the girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, a gift she received in 1947 as a wedding present and a piece that became iconic in her early reign. Surrounding the portrait is the Latin legend, Elizabeth II D.G. Reg. F.A.D. 1981, which expands to Elizabeth II Dei Gratia Regina Fidei Defensor, meaning Elizabeth II by the grace of God, Queen Defender of the Faith. This inscription reflects both her constitutional role and her status as the supreme governor of the Church of England. The effigy faces to the right, continuing the centuries-old British tradition of alternating monarch profiles with each successive reign. The reverse, back, of the coin, designed by Christopher Ironside, displays the iconic crowned portcullis with chains, a heraldic badge of the Palace of Westminster and a centuries-old symbol associated with the British Parliament. The portcullis is surmounted by a coronet, representing the monarchy's constitutional link to Parliament. Above the design is the new penny, and beneath it the denomination 1, clearly denoting its face value. This reverse design was used consistently from the first decimal pennies in 1971 until 1981. After that, from 1982 onwards, the inscription was changed to 1 penny, as the currency was fully familiar to the public. In terms of physical specifications, the 1981 1 new penny was struck in bronze, composed of 97% copper, 2.5% zinc, and 0.5% tin. It has a diameter of 20.32 millimeters, a thickness of 1.52 millimeters, and a standard weight of 3.56 grams. The coin has a plain, smooth edge, and when freshly minted it exhibited a bright reddish-brown luster that would gradually darken with circulation, developing a rich brown patina over time. These specifications were maintained for all bronze pennies until 1992, when the composition changed to copper-plated steel in response to rising copper prices. The mintage for the 1981 1 new penny was significantly lower than many surrounding years. It is one of the rarer dates in the series in terms of circulating examples because a large portion of the coins struck that year were used primarily in collectors' proof sets and uncirculated presentation sets issued by the Royal Mint rather than being released widely into general circulation. Circulation strikes exist, but they are notably scarcer compared to earlier mass-issue years such as 1971, 1975, and 1979. The majority of high-grade examples encountered today come from these proof and BU, brilliant uncirculated, sets. The historical context of 1981 in Britain was marked by significant national events. Queen Elizabeth II had been on the throne for nearly 3 decades, and the early 1980s were a time of economic restructuring and social change under the government of Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher. Inflationary pressures, industrial unrest, and the beginnings of technological modernization characterized the period. Coins like the 1 new penny were essential for small everyday purchases such as newspapers, sweets, public telephones, and vending machines. From a numismatic perspective, the 1981 1 new penny holds a special place because it represents the final full year of the new penny inscription before the denomination's wording transitioned. For collectors, it is of interest both as a historical piece and as a key date for typesets. In circulated condition, the coin is generally worth its face value due to its relative modernity, but in uncirculated or proof condition, it can command a modest premium. Typical values range from a few pence in circulated grades to several pounds for pristine original mint set examples, with proof coins being particularly desirable due to their low distribution numbers and mirror-like finishes. The symbolism of the coin is deeply tied to British constitutional heritage. The crowned portcullis, used as the badge of the Palace of Westminster, represents the seat of British democracy and governance. The chains extending from the portcullis suggest strength and security, while the crown symbolizes the enduring monarchy. Together, the obverse and reverse designs form a portrait of a nation balancing its traditions, monarchy, parliament, and established religion while undergoing modern economic and cultural transformations. Over time, the 1 new penny coins of this era have become a tangible reminder of the early decimal coinage system, particularly for those who grew up during the 1970s and early 1980s. They also mark the last generation of true bronze pennies before the shift to plated steel, making them historically significant in terms of metal composition. Collectors of British decimal coinage, Queen Elizabeth II memorabilia, or those assembling year-by-year collections often include the 1981 penny as an essential entry. By 1982, the Royal Mint officially dropped the word new, redesignating the denomination as 1 penny, a change that would remain for the rest of the series. Thus, the 1981 coin is both a numismatic and historical milestone, bridging the first decade of decimal currency and the mature stage of the penny's modern form. Thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe my channel for more videos.